What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Ravens Media, bringing Ravens content every single day. It's Wednesday, so of course we are keeping up with the Wednesday night live streams. And if this is your first time coming to one, or if you're watching this in post or something like that, we like to go live on Wednesday nights. Typically, we also go live before and after Ravens games, but unfortunately, the Ravens have been eliminated. So we'll have to figure out another way. We'll probably try and stream or something like that on the weekend still. Figure something out. We'll let you guys know when we do get it all figured out. But in this, kind of stream / video, I think we'll just talk about, things that happen throughout the season, our thoughts on them, kind of quick analysis. Obviously, we'll answer any questions that you guys have. It doesn't technically have to be Ravens related if you want to ask about other things. And then, also getting into some draft stuff and talking a little bit about that. Now that we know that the Baltimore Ravens are sitting at pick 14 in the draft, we can get a little bit more in detail. But before we get into all of that, I just want to say I'm setting up basically a Ravens superlatives kind of session, and how it's going to work is it's going to be on TikTok is where all the voting and awards are going to take place. But Joshua and I will try and make a video, and we'll go over all of the results together and kind of talk about it, whether or not we agree and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So if you guys want to see that, make sure to go check out the TikTok. That is at TTB Ravens on TikTok if you guys have it. But Joshua, how are you doing? And also, Nana, how are you doing as well?
What's going on, Nana? Hey, it's Wednesday. No one has requested to interview Wink or Greg Roman. Nothing has happened in regards to the guys in the front office. No one has been fired. Outside of that, but knowing that we sit at number 14 in this year's draft, I'm doing okay.
Yeah. And how are you doing? Chris Reed says, what's up, TTB? I was thinking about how many picks we have this year and how EDC can take later picks into very good vets. Do you think he will make a splash with the late round picks in the form of trade? That's an interesting take on it. Will the Ravens trade some later picks to get a veteran player? I honestly don't think so, just because in my personal thought process, the veterans that the Ravens would be potentially looking for would be either like an offensive lineman, or potentially a corner. And I don't think those are positions that teams are really going to be wanting to trade in the offseason. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Like, I think they could potentially package them to trade up in the draft and, get like a 4th rounder or a 3rd rounder or something like that, extra out of it. But that's kind of my thought process on it. I doubt that they trade it for a position that they really need. And that's the only time I ever really see the Ravens trade is when they really need that position. But Joshua, are you in the same boat? What are you thinking?
I know in this year's draft, I know we've been paired up to defensive tackle. I've said it numerous occasions that the Washington football team is looking for a quarterback. I don't know if we can package up, Tyler Huntley and maybe 2 4th-round picks for a possible Jonathan Allen to come to Baltimore. I definitely would love to. I definitely would love that. Especially with us, moving away from Brandon Williams, Calais Campbell possibly retiring. I know people want him back, but at the end of the day, I feel like I'm not going to say served his time, but he definitely gave us solid years, and I love what he's brought to the table. I love what he's brought to the team. And honestly, if you decided to, spend time with his family and just retire, I would not be mad at that at all. He originally came here with the thoughts and with the motive to win a Super Bowl, and since he's been here, it hasn't happened. I know he believes in the potential of this team and everything like that, but sometimes some people get tired. So if we can, maybe package up the 4th-round picks and maybe move to get a player, but that's gonna be a lot of vets in regards to free agency who we'd be able to maybe possibly get, like a Bobby Wagner. I don't know who's going to be out there for us offensive lineman, but there are going to be some pieces out there we can add that can be very valuable to this team, because we have to get away from Villanueva. But if the Ravens do not plan on drafting a right tackle, they need to really spend some money on a right tackle in the free agency this year, and get someone to solidify that right side. And also, get an extension for Brandon Bozeman. Like every other piece, in my opinion, every other piece can be inconsistent, but you need a consistent offensive line. You need a consistent offensive line. So
Yeah.
if they do that, then I'm all for it.
Consistent offensive line is absolutely the key. How you doing, Andre? Welcome into the stream. Dawson brings up, we have a lot of mid-round picks. I love it. I absolutely love it too. If you guys didn't know, the draft is not won in the first round. Obviously, most of the really big splashes are going to be first-round picks when you look at, especially recent years. Jamar Chase this year, Najee Harris this year, Mac Jones this year. Lot of Odafe Owe, Gregory Rousseau.
Yeah.
The first round picks make the splash. However, it's the depth pieces that people draft that in 3-4 years as a third round pick, fourth round pick, all of a sudden, these guys are becoming Pro Bowlers, right? Mm-hmm. The Ravens drafted a Pro Bowler 2 years ago. They drafted a Pro Bowl wide receiver, and he developed into that in Devin Duvernay. So, the mid-round picks are where the draft is won and lost. It is the most important thing because if you look at Ravens' great players, they've had some great first-round picks. Ray Lewis, Jonathan Ogden, Lamar Jackson, obviously. But then you look at the later guys, and it's like, oh, yeah, Matthew Judon, Orlando Brown, those type of players where they make massive impacts, even not as big time, hyped up prospects. That's where you get the guys that people don't know about, and where the Antonio Browns, the Tom Bradys are able to rise up, because a lot of times those guys also have really interesting, they have different motivations. When you're undrafted, when you're a late round pick, you believe you should have been higher. You believe you should have been drafted. And I'm not saying guys that get drafted in the first round don't have motivation, but I think it's just another thing that can help motivate the guys that didn't get drafted. And then there's even situations like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers truly believes he should have been number one. He went 22nd or 27th or something like that. That gives him motivation. He wants to be the one that shows no, these guys aren't better than me, right? DK got drafted behind A.J. Brown and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and Hollywood. He believed he should have been first. So I do like that. And also, the caveat with this, John Harbaugh does not like to play young players. So that makes it difficult when we're trying to draft guys like a Prochet.
More reason to get them out of here. Come on, man.
Exactly. Let's use some of the young talent, right? We drafted a lot of really good talent this year. Obviously, Dalen Hayes got hurt. Also, I'm tired of John Harbaugh drafting Michigan players. So Ben Mason didn't work out. We traded away Sean Wade.
I'm not even gonna lie. As much as I want the defensive end, as much as I would like for the defensive end from Michigan to come to Baltimore, it's because of everything that's happened, I do not want to chance it. I'd rather make the safe bet and get the defensive end out of Purdue.
We can't. I don't care if Hutchinson falls to pick number 14. No, I don't want him. Strictly off of the idea that he went to the University of Michigan, and John Harbaugh is incredibly biased when it comes to the University of Michigan. Wow, you guys are asking all the questions. Shout out to all you guys asking good questions. We will try and get to them. Shout out to you guys.
You did ask. You know what we're going to talk about. I told you.
Absolutely. How you doing, Omar? Here we go. Dawson says, do you guys think the Ravens should take a tackle in the third or fourth? We usually hit on late round offensive linemen, and if Sauce or an elite pass rusher is there at 14, I don't see them passing on them. Joshua, why don't you take this one first?
Okay, so boom. I know we've been talking about offensive linemen, especially right tackle. I have seen some guys talk about left tackle. Let me just go ahead and put it out there now. Ronnie Stanley is going to come back stronger. He's going to come back healthier, and he's going to be better than ever before. I'm calling it. I'm saying it now. Yes, I know, some people when they get paid, it's a downhill spiral. It's a slippery slope. But literally, if we're being honest, we're being real, they rushed it. The doctors, the trainers, and Ronnie rushed it. He should have came back in week 5 and we could have worked it out then. So I don't see us getting a left tackle in this year's draft. But third or fourth round, if Daniel Flaherty out of the University of Minnesota is standing there, I do see us picking him up. Of course, when the season is finally over, we will do more, deep diving into the offensive lineman since that is a heavy need. We also got to, keep in fact, we also got to keep in factor Bradley Bozeman if he gets the extension. If he gets the extension, we don't go at the Tyler Linderbaum. If we do not get the extension for Bradley Bozeman, at number 14, if he's there, do not be surprised if we draft the center at number 14 in the first round. But I would rather for us to go ahead and use those first 2 picks on defense, possibly edge rusher. And if Sauce Gardner is there at number 14, I would say definitely go get him. Because the next best corner, in my opinion, would be Kobe Bryant if Sauce Gardner got picked up.
Oh yeah. Why don't we just bring both Cincinnati corners into Baltimore? Because Kobe Bryant is potentially going to be like a 4th round pick. Ravens got a ton of 4th round picks. Bring the dynamic duo into the NFL. But in regards to this question,
either he wasn't.
Oh, I know.
Targeted. He was like, they respected him and Sauce.
Oh, I know. It was crazy. Like watching that game. It was like Alabama was just like, stay away from these guys. And you don't see Alabama with the receivers that they have for them to stay away from the corners. That showed how much respect that they had. I think Sauce Gardner was targeted 3 or 4 times. He allowed 1 reception for like -2 yards. They threw a screen pass. He just blew up the screen. It was a great play. But in my opinion, absolutely the Ravens should take a tackle in the 3rd or 4th round. I think that's a great place to take a tackle unless you can get the number 1 tackle in the draft, because tackle sometimes takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And a lot of offensive tackle, it comes down to coaching, especially when you're this young. So if the Ravens believe in their coaching staff, a coaching staff that coached up Orlando Brown into a Pro Bowl level tackle, and it's tough to coach Alejandro Villanueva when he's already been in the league for 8 years or 10 years or whatever it is. They have veterans there, but the Ravens have been good at coaching up tackles. They coached up Patrick McCarry into being able to play tackle. They did a really good job with him. So I think absolutely going after a tackle, and Joshua, you brought up Falahi or Falele, whatever his name is, absolute monster, behemoth out of the University of Minnesota. I remember when I was first watching Rashad Bateman, this may have been even before I was even scouting Bateman. I think I was just watching a Minnesota game, and I was like, who is this guy? This guy's massive. Like, I was just like in awe at how big he was. And I think, as a 3rd or 4th round guy.
I want to say 6'9", 400 something pounds. I mean,
yeah, he's up there. And I want to say he's Australian born or something like that. Okay. And he came over to the United States. Like, he may have grown up playing Australian football or Australian rugby. I'm not 100% sure on the exact story, but so he is just a
crazy
absolute unit. That the Ravens, they like the units, right? They had Orlando Brown. They replaced him with Villanueva. Let's get a young unit to get him into another Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
Omar says, love the video yesterday. Yes, talking about John Harbaugh's got to go. And I did see Ryan Mink was going out there, and Ryan Mink was under fire yesterday. Because he came out was like, yeah, look at all the guys that the Ravens were missing. They were still 6th in yards. And then like 4 or 5 hours later, he was starting to get flamed. And so he commented and he was like, guys, Greg Roman's not perfect, but you can't argue with results. And then he just kept trying to defend Greg Roman. Everyone was like, nah, man, we're trying to score. And I was on the phone with my friend Matt, and he was talking to me about, like, because right when I saw the tweet, I was on the phone with him, and he was like, why don't you think about this? Do you think Bill Belichick cares about where you rank in yards at the end of the year? No, Bill Belichick doesn't care about yards. Bill Belichick cares about wins, and he cares about points. And Greg Roman wasn't doing either of those things. So it's tough.
Yeah. McConnell, what you asked me? What we going to talk about?
I did. I was like, I wonder what we're going to talk about today. Right before the stream started, Joshua was like, probably draft, Jordan Davis, Harbaugh, and Roman. Boom. We've almost got it all. Someone's got to ask about Jordan Davis, but I'm sure it'll come up.
Let me beat the dead horse. I'm back.
I don't know what it'll take to get rid of Harbaugh and Roman.
Yo, if we don't hear nothing about next week, it's a wrap.
If Lamar came out and said something, that would do it. I think Eric DaCosta would fire both of them in a heartbeat if Lamar asked him to. But Lamar's not going to do that. So I'm not even going to put that as a situation. Maybe I honestly, to get rid of both, now I think there's a chance Harbaugh fires Roman because he recognizes that he's on the hot seat. But yeah, for them to fire both, like I just think it's so, even though like we really want it to happen, it's just I'm doubting that it'll happen. I just really hope it does. And I think we may get a left tackle. I don't think we'll sign a left tackle, but like I think the Ravens will draft a left tackle, not want to start him initially. So maybe have Villanueva or Jawan James and Patrick McCarry, playing tackle at the beginning of the year. Ronnie can come back and then they'll evaluate, hey, is this young guy like Orlando Brown? He didn't start right away. Is this young guy able to step in? And whether it's step in on the left tackle because Ronnie's not good, he's not healthy yet, or if it's step in on the right side because they feel that he's a better player than what the Ravens have out there at that moment. But
only way I would be okay for a left tackle if we go after Trevor Penning. Trevor Penning is a high-profile left tackle, and he also can play right tackle, I believe. So I don't think we will have an Orlando Brown Jr. situation on our ends if he was to switch to right tackle. But he will be very serviceable. I forgot where Trevor is coming out of. I want to say like Central Michigan or like JMU or something like that. I gotta double check.
I think it's Central Michigan.
Okay.
But yeah, no, they could definitely try and go after like a later round left tackle to snag him up. But I mean, you can always switch a left tackle over to right tackle when they're coming out of college. It happens all the time. Obviously, guys will typically like to play left tackle because they get paid more. Exhibit Orlando Brown. But
he's literally getting saved by Patrick Mahomes running.
I know.
If we're being honest.
Here we go. Here's a question from Adit Mahmood. Says, with Joe Horitz interviewing for the Giants general manager job and Wink coming close last time for the head coaching job, do you think that could be a package deal? Who replaces Wink then? Anthony Weaver possibly. I doubt Anthony Weaver gets the promotion that quickly. I really do doubt it. And then Joe Horitz, I don't think Joe Horitz would be the guy in charge of assigning defensive coordinators. Now, if they got Wink to be the head coach along with Joe Horitz, that is a possibility that could, I like that combination. Similar to what we saw from Robert Saleh last year from the 49ers going to the Jets. He brought over a couple of coordinators under him. Joe Horitz being the director of player personnel or something like that, I think is his official title. If he brings over Wink, I think that's a possibility. If he says, hey, Wink, I want you to coach this team. I think that's a real possibility. And then in terms of replacing Anthony Weaver, I think is just very new not new in the organization, but new coaching in the organization, I would say. Maybe potentially a Rob Ryan promotion we could see, I'm thinking, but I don't know. What do you think, Joshua? Is there a guy that stands out that could be promoted from the Ravens ranks?
I don't know about promotion, but I'm damn sure going for Todd Bowles or Gerard Mayo. If they don't take a head coaching job there, I got this. Listen, if anybody leaves, it cannot be from within. And I know, a lot of guys have moved on and, they've had great coaching careers. I mean, obviously, we have our own little coaching tree as well here in Baltimore. And I love that. These guys can go out there and get their money. Shout out to Zachary Orr. I mean, even David Culley, Jim Caldwell, all them guys. Even when Gary Kubiak coached the year for us, he ended up getting a head coaching job, I believe, right after. So I mean, anything's possible once you're, in the organization. But honestly, for the next coming years, I feel like we really do need, more innovating coaches. So give me a Gerard Mayo. Gerard Mayo is actually being interviewed for being a head coach. Give me a Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is being interviewed for a head coach. Now, Brian Flores, I would love to even bring up Brian Flores in the office. Now, whether it's a head coaching position or a defensive coordinator position, you gotta have people that's willing to elevate, live with the times, do things different. And right now, we don't have those type of coaches in office. So if there was a move, I say we gotta go out there, we gotta do some interviews. We gotta go get somebody.
I'm happy you brought up Brian Flores because I think right now, Brian Flores, maybe I've got it down to two guys that I would want most as the head coach of the Ravens if the Ravens were to fire Harbaugh. Number one, I'll say 1A is Brian Flores if the Ravens want a guy that has at least a little bit of coaching experience. I felt like he did a good job in Miami, just didn't have the roster to contend. Like,
literally,
he's got Tua. Like, you're not going to be able to get as far. I mean, he honestly, I think, did a great job in Miami. And then the other guy, if the Ravens want to go, okay, we want inexperienced guys that have crazy high potential, I would look into Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator in Dallas. Those are kind of the two guys that I'm looking at now. I wouldn't be against a guy like Bieniemy, even a guy like Todd Bowles, because Todd Bowles, I want to say he coached the Jets prior to becoming the defensive coordinator in Tampa Bay. But come on, he's coaching the Jets roster, right? It's not easy to win with Mark Sanchez and then the atrocious teams that they have had. But I would definitely like to bring him in, at least for a defensive coordinator job, if he would be willing to. I just don't know how likely that is. But Brian Flores as a head coach, I would love that. I was shocked that they fired him.
I think that was the most shocking fire in the coaching carousel so far yet, because it's not like, he brought him back and almost playoff contention with all the broken pieces.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We saw what his defense did to the Ravens this year.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Like, they looked all right against the Ravens. I'm just gonna say.
I think it was after they beat us, that's when they started going on that streak.
Yup.
But dang on shame, man. Dang on shame.
Omar, I think I actually have an answer for this question. Why are fans content with bringing back the same mediocrity? It's because it's safe. All right? Ravens fans know if they have Harbaugh and they have Roman and they at least have somewhat of a healthy roster, they'll probably make the playoffs. And that's safe, right? Like, if you make the playoffs, obviously anything can happen. It's the same thing that you see in bad relationships and things like that. Some people don't want to get out of a bad relationship, even if they know it's a bad situation, because they know like exactly what they're going to get. We know we're going to get out of Harbaugh and Roman.
Mm-hmm.
The possibility is like, hey, if you get out of a bad relationship, you could get into a worse relationship, and that's scary. There's also the potential, however, that you get into a better relationship. So with the coaching, and you look at it like that, the Ravens, if they fire Harbaugh, there's a chance that they get someone terrible and it doesn't work at all. And then they're like, they're a bottom team in the NFL. And that's, I think a lot of fans are scared of that happening. However, I think on our side, when we're looking at it, it's like, we're trying to build a dynasty. The Ravens are trying to build a dynasty.
Yeah.
Harbaugh's not going to give you a dynasty. Ray Lewis brought a dynasty. Harbaugh did not.
No one wants to admit. I'm sorry. No one wants to admit that 2012 Super Bowl, John didn't do too much coaching. He rolled the backs of Pro Bowlers. Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs. Who else we had? Jimmy Smith. I mean, we had a dynamic defense that 2012 Super Bowl. And I'm not going to take nothing away from the offense. The offense, they did what they needed to do. They got points. Joe Flacco stretched the ball down the field, and when it was available, he took off running. He had fun.
And also, a lot of people say that I got some, I don't want to say some backlash, but there were some people that disagreed with my take on the Ravens should fire Harbaugh. And that's fine. People are allowed to disagree. And a lot of things people say is like, Harbaugh built the culture that we have now, and he was able to do that. Harbaugh did not build the culture of the Baltimore Ravens. Ray Lewis built that culture, all right? That was created by Ray Lewis. That was created by Rod Woodson. That was created by Peter Boulware. That was created by Adelius Thomas, Sam Adams, all the guys, right? And then it was continued on as Ray Lewis, stayed with the Ravens, and all of a sudden it was Ed Reed, and it was Terrell Suggs. And then it was like, okay, yeah, now it's CJ Mosley. But guys, think about it. Terrell Suggs was with the Ravens still a couple years ago, right? Like the effects of Ray Lewis are still lingering in the building. It's not like, obviously Harbaugh's a good motivator. I'm not saying he's bad at it, but this idea that Harbaugh built the culture of Baltimore is completely incorrect, because it was built by Ray Lewis and his speeches and his motivation, and carried on through the guys that he was able to mentor and teach the way of the Ravens. Harbaugh came into that and butted heads with him.
You butted heads with Bernard Pollard. You butted heads with Ed Reed. It's a reason why Ed Reed has not got a coaching job or any type of insider position in Baltimore. Ed Reed and John Harbaugh, it's been said that they do not get along. And Harbaugh runs a totalitarian type of rule. It's like either his way or the highway. How many times have we seen players being benched? How many times have we seen players get one good play and don't get back in the game? I mean, heck, we see chance for coaches with Greg Roman and Wink, but as soon as someone does something, Omar, 7 receptions and 76 yards. Oh yeah, man, you're doing way too dang on good. Let's go ahead and make him inactive. Like, what are we doing here? Like, honestly, I love JP too, but seriously, if I could package him up in a deal to trade him off so we can have a better opportunity to play and get more time and really flourish, I would do that. Chris, Tyson Williams. But guess what he wants to say in the presser? Oh, yeah, so if you learn how to block, learn how to run the routes, hold the ball tight. I'm like, dude, okay, he missed one block. Get on him because of that. That's fine. If you keep taking away from someone's reps, who honestly earned those reps from beginning, but you took it away by kept on bringing in old men to run the ball and start making them inactive so we can get this fresh, healthy rotation, I'm going to be honest. If you activate me and expect me to play, you're not going to get the best of me. I've been here since day one. Why would you take away from my time? When me and Lamar are good, I'm giving you 6 yards per carry. Make it make sense.
And then it's also other players where it's like Le'Veon Bell, Des Bryant. I'm going to say it. Le'Veon Bell played solid for the Ravens. It's not like he came back and it was like, oh, he's not good. Like, he's not it. Sometimes, you bring in a guy like I'll say like Seth Roberts came in and it was like, all right, Seth Roberts wasn't what we were hoping Seth Roberts would be. And so like, all right, we'll limit it. Le'Veon came back and it was like, he's not bad. Like, he's doing his job. He scored a touchdown. Like, he did decent. Like, he was hitting the holes. Then it was just like, oh, yeah, we're going to stop giving it to him. And we're going to stop giving it to Tyson. And it was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And it made it seem like they were trying to trade Tyson Williams because it was close to the trade deadline and teams reportedly were, calling the Ravens about their running backs. And they were like, yeah, we got a call about Tyson. He'll never play for the next 7 weeks. It's like, okay, if you don't play Tyson, play McCrary, right? Like, I don't want to disrespect Latavius and Devontae Freeman because I think they played all right.
Oh,
like, they played above expectations, yeah.
I'm
But
gonna disrespect Latavius because Latavius, I don't why are we running plays to him, giving him plays, and he's going east and west. He's too dang on big and not that agile to be going east and west. No, my good man, you need to go north and south, put your head down, and run something over. Devontae Freeman, I'll give Devontae Freeman respect because he's like a little engine that could. He literally started picking up steam by every game. So the Devontae Freeman literally gets a pass.
and it's just crazy, absolutely crazy that and we saw it last year too. It was so obvious from the jump last season that Mark Ingram was not the guy, that he was not the same player he was the year before. And J.K. Dobbins was great. Like, he started off great. It wasn't like, oh, eventually he got better. No, he came out of the gate and was great. I want to say he had 2 touchdowns against Cleveland, which may have been the first game of the season. And it was like, oh, yes, here we go. And then it was like, no, we're going to keep running Mark Ingram. And it was like, Mark Ingram's kind of trash now. I don't know why you keep running the ball with him. And
Mark Ingram was like a wounded puppy on the field at sometimes.
he really was. And I love Mark Ingram. I don't like slandering Mark Ingram, but he was not it on the field. Off the field, he was great. It was reported the reason Flores got fired was because the general manager was in love with Tua and Flores wanted to replace him. Yeah, I think a lot of times coaches, they want their guy, right? Matt Nagy, the former coach of the Bears, he didn't want Mitch Trubisky. He came in and was given Mitch Trubisky, right? And like those types of situations, a great situation. Hugh Jackson, who I've had the pleasure with talking to. I remember him talking about Baker Mayfield and that entire situation because he didn't want Baker Mayfield. And they drafted him and he was like, I don't want this guy. Like, I didn't want him. He wasn't the guy that I liked. And Hugh Jackson, it's not like Hugh Jackson was a defensive guy. No, Hugh Jackson was an offensive coordinator. That's what he did. Like, he designs offenses. He didn't want Baker. That wasn't the offense he was trying to build. So when that happens, like, it's really unfortunate for those coaches that it's just like obviously Hugh Jackson was in a worse situation than I think Brian Flores, because Hugh Jackson was coming out of just had an atrocious roster. Brian Flores at least has a decent roster. They've got some good pieces there. But like Brian Flores, like Hugh Jackson didn't get another shot after he got fired. Now he's the head coach. Oh, where's he the head coach at? He was the offensive coordinator at Tennessee State under Eddie George.
Man, he's at Grambling, right?
And now he's the head coach at Grambling. So
where he just got the 4-star QB commit out of UCLA to transfer to Grambling. Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing the SWAC this upcoming season. Because who did Dion just get? I think he just got a 5.
Oh, they just got a 5. They got like the number 6 receiver or something like that.
Yeah, and they got the number 1 cornerback in so yo, it's dope. Show me. And he landed in the number 4 D tackle at Florida State University. Yo, I'm looking forward to seeing the SWAC play. I'm looking forward to seeing the SWAC.
Doug Peterson. I would not hate Doug Peterson. I think Doug Peterson is a decent coach. I think Philadelphia wasn't a great fit. I know he just interviewed with the Chicago Bears today. However, we've seen Doug Peterson last year, like, he's been coaching Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts isn't as good as Lamar. But I didn't really like the offense that they were running with Jalen Hurts under Doug Peterson. So I'm kind of skeptical about that.
I would take Josh McDaniels over Doug. Only I'll get it to Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson actually does his homework and research his opposing opponents, because you have seen in his opposing. I mean, if you see in the next game schemes, he actually does use plays that has worked against his opponents, and he uses them. I mean, I forgot what year it was. He was a coach. He was coaching for the Eagles, but he literally watched our game before whoever he played and used some of the stuff that we did to beat them. So I give Doug Peterson that respect, but Josh McDaniels, he's more of an innovator. He will use Lamar's arm and not just his legs. I mean, even when you got God given ability, you still got to use the mechanics and stuff like that. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many things to look at. And AJ, how you doing, AJ? AJ asks, where does the Lamar Jackson contract stand? Has it changed since the last time I was on the show? No,
Nope.
there's really been no updates. He said that he wants to focus on getting healthy first.
You know what, McConnell? After this live stream, we may have to talk about that because it's so much. In my opinion, I feel like the keys are in Lamar Jackson's hand for things to change. But by him coming out and saying, "Hey, man, we love Greg Roman, man," and all this other stuff like that, yo, do you not want to really get a Super Bowl? Let me know because I'm tired of watching you play subpar. Aren't you tired of hearing the people talk about you? So I'm tired of hearing the people talk about you for you. Because this year you played a little bit, under the pressure of almost hearing what everybody was saying about you. You didn't rise to the occasion like you usually do. Then granted, I know you had a bad offensive line. I know you didn't have the running backs that you didn't have, but you still can make magic happen. I'm going out there on the limb. I'm calling you a generational player now, and you're not performing how I feel like you should. So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. Do you not want the money? Do you not want to get some wide receivers? Do you not want to get some old linemen that can protect you? Let me know. Let me know what you want to do. Like you literally hold the keys in your hands. You can literally say, you know what? I don't like what Greg Roman's doing. Eric DeCosta, John, you gotta get rid of him. When Des Bryant was here, y'all was more talkative. But since those guys that goes against the grain, not there, they're not talking up more. Like, what's up? I don't get it.
And I want to talk about this really quick. My assumption, Nana, is that you're talking about Shanahan. It's my assumption right there. That's what I'm going to talk about. So if we want a Shanahan type coach, and by Shanahan type coach, that means a guy that's going to get his own scheme, right? Kyle Shanahan was underneath Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan developed his whole scheme with the Denver Broncos, won a couple Super Bowls with it. Kyle worked under him eventually, learned his scheme and really took it to the next level. He did change up the scheme significantly, and he brought his new coaching tree, the new Shanahan coaching tree of Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, and Sean McVay. All coaches there doing really well. And they have something. It's very different from what everyone else runs, right? It utilizes a ton of motion. It's heavy based on the run. However, they are very efficient in the passing game. Like, even if you watch the Packers, like, their offense is based around the run, but they're like a throwing football team, if that makes any sense at all, because it's just, you're so afraid of the run schemes that they design, and they're able to use their tight ends and receivers to get them open. If you want a Shanahan type of player, there's one guy in the NFL right now that has potential of becoming a Shanahan type coach, and that would be Kellen Moore. Because Kellen Moore, coming out of Boise State, there were his coaches, his high school coaches, his college coaches. They had said, Z the Beast. They had said Kellen Moore may not make it in the NFL as a quarterback. He might not. He doesn't really have the arm strength, doesn't really have the accuracy. But my goodness, is this guy going to be a special coach? Because the way he won at Boise State was not because he was a better athlete than everyone else. It was because he knew more football than every other person on the field at all times. That's how he won. And that's how he got what was he? I think he started as a quarterback's coach with Dallas, then got promoted to the offensive coordinator. And the issue is right now he's stuck behind Mike McCarthy, who's not a good coach at all. In Dallas. So Kellen Moore, I believe if he's given full opportunity, he will absolutely take advantage of it and really try and work on something new and different. Greg Roman brought the same thing that he used to do to Baltimore. When you have a guy like Lamar Jackson, a generational, not just quarterback, a generational athlete, you got to get that thing that's new and hit it, right? The perfect combination is Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson, the triangle offense, because they had a superstar, Michael Jordan, and they were like, we know this guy's great.
Talk to him.
And then all of a sudden, Phil Jackson and whoever the assistant was that actually created the triangle offense underneath Phil Jackson, whatever exactly happened, he comes out, and it wasn't just a 1-year wonder. It was a boom, 6 championships in consecutive seasons where they all played together. 6 consecutive championships. Would have been 8, potentially. Y'all can argue that. So Kellen Moore, if he had a guy like Lamar Jackson and let his brilliant football mind work and look at how can we use this guy in every possible way, that's what's going to allow the Ravens to create a dynasty behind Lamar Jackson. It's not going to be John Harbaugh saying, everybody go give it your all. It's going to be somebody going out there and saying, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is why it's going to work. And then we'll let Marlon and we'll let Lamar and we'll let Mark Andrews be the guys motivating everyone else. That's my rant.
Oh, man. Yo, shout out to the 49 people in the stream, man. Like, share. If you're not already subscribed to the TTB page, go ahead and subscribe. Turn on your notifications. This offseason is going to be the hot one because we're going to make sure we coming out as much content as we can possibly, because it's moves not being made right now. But I feel like this one is going to be I don't think this offseason is going to be a dry one. It's going to be some things coming down the pipeline sooner or later.
Absolutely. Let's see. Z the Beast.
Oh, Z.
You're right. You're right, Z the Beast. It's sad. Also, shout out to Godson. If you guys didn't know, he won the jersey giveaway we did a while back. So shout out to Godson. But yeah, this is sadly true, I believe.
But see, that's the thing. Like, even with that, I would think your general manager and your head coach should have some of the best relationship. What's the movie that recently came out a couple years back? Draft Day. What happened? Like,
Sonny.
The general manager is pretty much under pressure. Then you got the new coach, and everybody was like, we need to draft this guy. He was thinking about drafting that guy. They actually end up working together and trading up and everything like that. I mean, you see so many things happen, but at the same time, it's like, yo, y'all live next to each other. Y'all meet up in the backyard. And like I said, for the past couple of games, I don't know if everybody else saw it, but I kept on bringing it to everyone's attention. EDC was on the sidelines. I don't know if that could be like, hey, I want to see what's really going on during these games because I'm getting tired of this stuff. Or, you just, being down there for more support. Me as a general manager with how things going, I would be down there, really trying to get an understanding. Like, yo, John, you're not gonna call Greg on that? You're not gonna call Greg? Hey, Wink, you're not going. Hey, man, we hurting. Wink, you're not gonna make you gonna do the same thing? All right. So that number 1 pick defensive end that I drafted for us, right? You gonna put him? You gonna have him drop back in the half, in the deep third? Justin Houston, I just picked him up for 1 year. You gonna have this 30-year-old man, 30, 31, drop back? You're not gonna have him go up the field, not press? Okay. I'm gonna see what I'm gonna have to do. It's nothing. It's like at this point I'm doing evaluations because we can't keep on making it to the playoffs or getting close to it. I can't keep on blaming it. I can't blame it on COVID. I can't blame it on injuries. I'm like, we've been playoff contenders ever since Lamar Jackson has taken over in 2018 and gotten the team to 6-1. It is time to, push the envelope. Matter of fact, not even push it. Cut the ribbon off cut the closing part of the envelope off and open the floodgates because we are a team to be reckoned with. And matter of fact, instead of ranting, I'm gonna say this. This is gonna make Ravens fans mad. What we're the Cincinnati Bengals are who we should be right now. The Cincinnati Bengals have literally built, and the Cincinnati Bengals have worked their way into the playoff and sitting at number 3. I'm gonna leave it as that. I'm gonna leave it like that. That's what the Ravens. That's where the Ravens should be. They should be building, adding pieces, getting younger, which Cincinnati did. And now, as they got younger, what have they done? They've got better coaching. They've got a starting QB. They've gotten a starting QB with a strong wide receiver. Running game is physical. Their front seven is physical. Hell, their middle linebacker came out of Wyoming. And he's getting the job done. So, hey, we can keep on going. We can keep on going down the same cycle, with Harbaugh, Greg, Wink. We can continue adding on pieces and not being utilized correctly. But right now, if things keep on going the way it is, we're going to be like second best in the AFC North. I don't know about y'all, but I don't like that. I don't like the sound of that.
Something that I kind of want to bring up is when we look at why might Eric DeCosta not fire Harbaugh or go, take the high road on Harbaugh and say, now we're cutting Greg Roman off. I think it potentially has to do with he doesn't want to be the one that ends it, right? Eric DeCosta, I don't want to say he started underneath Harbaugh, but he started as an assistant and worked his way up underneath Ozzie Newsome. Yeah. And so it was like he and Harbaugh have known each other for a while, and he wasn't always like Harbaugh's boss. And so, it's like, when you're working a job with your buddy and you get promoted to be the boss or whatever, maybe you work in different departments, but like you're still working on the same thing and you guys talk to each other, you're on the floor together. All of a sudden you get promoted to the general manager of wherever you're working. Maybe you're working at Applebee's or maybe you're working at Apple. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. You don't want to fire your friend, right? You don't want to fire the guy you were working with, especially a guy that had brought so much success. Maybe you played football with him in high school and he was the quarterback that won your state championship. And it's like, Harbaugh won this team a Super Bowl and Eric DeCosta got to see all of that. And when you see all of that and you weren't the boss the whole time, I think it makes it a little bit more difficult when you were on an even playing field and maybe even Harbaugh technically was higher than him at some points. You don't want to fire that guy.
I'm going to say this. Business is business.
He should fire him.
I've had my quarterback from high school, my JV year, call each other brother and everything like that. I'm going to go ahead, a little quick story. We actually put a clothing line together. Things didn't go the best route that we planned it, and we end up parting ways. So sometimes, that goes to say, yes, it's hard to do that to some of your best friends, stuff like that. And I totally agree with you, because me personally, if I'm in the organization, if I'm coming up, and I know I'm next up to be the GM. And me and the head coach, pretty much got the report. I'm like, yo, be ready. We making moves. And once I'm in, we're gonna make dope moves. But understand this, I'm gonna tell them from the rip, we have to work together. So meaning, if someone's not working, understand, I ain't letting them go. And if you don't like it, I will give you your papers too. Because at the end of the day, I have now one of the highest jobs in the organization. So I have to do what's best for this team. And if letting you go, if letting this coordinator go is best for the team, I will do it. I don't even understand, with all the injuries that happen on the outside field, why didn't we relook at the field? I know they say, oh, yeah, it's grass and everything like that. But to get back-to-back injuries from non-contact, playing on grass, hey, where's my grounds people? Let's go ahead and look at the treatment. Let's retreat the field. Everybody get inside for the next couple of weeks or so. I can't afford none of my guys continue getting hurt like this. What's going on? You know, you got to make smarter decisions.
Yeah, I mean, and then Cam, I think there's a couple ways of looking at this. Who's out there that's better? I think Brian Flores could be better. The issue that I see is it's not about who would be better right now, but who has the potential to be, the best possible solution. Because Harbaugh, I think right now is like here, right? If Greg Roman was head coach, he'd be at the floor. You guys can't see that low, but you know, a guy like Kellen Moore could come in if Harbaugh's here. Kellen Moore may come in and he's here, right? He's worse, but it's like, oh, Kellen Moore's scheme is really being developed, and in a year or two, all of a sudden, it's one of the top offenses in the NFL, and he's really got everything fully taken advantage of. And then also Brian Flores, he hasn't had a lot of head coaching experience, but like he's probably similar with Harbaugh, but he could be better, right? So like that's kind of how I think about it, where it's like he's great. Like Harbaugh's really good. I don't dislike Harbaugh. I think he's a really good coach. I just think that what the Ravens need is no longer a motivational guy. They need a guy that'll design a new system and scheme, and that's not Harbaugh.
Hey, let me see. Who can I make as a great example? Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz, head coach for Syracuse University. If y'all don't know football history, look it up. One of the best running backs went to Syracuse University. Walter Payton. Jim Schwartz coached Walter Payton. The next man up was Ernie Davis. Go watch the Express, y'all. Just go ahead and watch the Express. They literally changed their offense, because of Ernie Davis. Like when you have generational players, players that can take you over the top, you got to keep on getting better. You got to keep on innovating because if you're an opposing team, like, you know what? I know the Ravens run a lot. I know they use a lot of RPOs. Let's go ahead and switch this all around. Thank you, Justin. My fault. Jim Brown. Sorry. It was Jim Brown. It was Jim Brown first, then at Ernie Davis. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I know we talked about it. I know we ran about it so much. I know it's like Nana said, beating a dead horse. I would take any head coach with more potential right now than John Harbaugh, because I don't know about you all, but I feel like John has hit his ceiling. John is now X is the old guy. I mean, me and McConnell and I, we talked about it before the show. Nick Saban is an X and the old guy, and also he's a motivator. If you did not watch the Georgia-Alabama game presser, when Bryce Young and Will Anderson was about to leave the podium, Nick Saban he said, you know what, sit down. Let me tell y'all something about these two guys. One game will not define them. And he meant what he said, because he's coached a lot of people, a lot of men that's made it to the NFL. And he knows what a lot of these guys are capable of. John can't do that. Yeah, he can defend. He can give you the best, answers possible. Granted, this year he has seemed a little more frustrated, talking to the press. If y'all haven't realized, he became a little bit more short, in my opinion. But he can't coach these guys and get all the potential out of them, and also try to motivate them at the same time. It's like either you're going to get one or the other out of John. He can't do both.
Yeah, he's not someone that can do both. And one thing though, John Harbaugh gets you a great special teams. That's good.
Definitely.
But another thing that's funny is there was a documentary that came out about like punters, or maybe it's like a Football Life or something on NFL. Mm-hmm. And they were talking, and someone was like, yeah, I think the hold is one of the most the forgotten part of the NFL, the holder. And someone said that Sam Cook is the greatest holder in the history of football. And it's like, Okay. Yeah, Harbaugh can coach special teams, but at the same time, like he also's got Sam Cook and Justin Tucker, which is pretty good. Pretty good, I would say.
All right, guys. All right, guys. Okay. Okay. Can't really say that's not a good experience. That's not a good. I can't.
If we want to look at a team that saw their players and then changed it in order to maximize their potential, I think a great example could be the Baltimore Ravens. Let's look at 2018. Let's look at the offense that they had. Joe Flacco, Michael Crabtree, and John Smokey Brown. They kind of sucked. The offense was not good. And they went out there and they said, all right, let's go. Flacco, you got hurt. Lamar will play you for a game, right? And the Ravens offensive coordinator was like, nah, I don't like Lamar. I don't want Lamar. Ozzie drafted Lamar. I don't want to use him. So they used the poor offensive game planning or whatever. And they get to the playoffs because Lamar was just that much better than Flacco. But then also they get to the playoffs and it was like, oh, wow, this offense sucks. Like they got completely shut down. And so the Ravens said, nah, we need to change in order to maximize our potential right now. So they changed. And they brought in Greg Roman. And they were like, we're going to try this running attack. And it worked. But then they got complacent. They got complacent with Greg Roman's scheme, and it hasn't changed, and it's no longer working. So they need to figure out, how do you maximize your potential with the roster that you have? Because it's a very different roster than when the Ravens took over, got their team in 2019 with Lamar Jackson's MVP year, right? You know, look at the wide receivers. Yeah, we still have Hollywood, but we don't have Willie Snead anymore. We instead have Rashad Bateman, who's a lot better. Mark Andrews is significantly older and a lot better than what he was back then. The Ravens have, you know, a little bit worse of an offensive line. So, like, when you look at it, like the scheme, yeah, it's still a run scheme. Yeah. They now have like the passing weapons and a worse line for running the ball. So it's like, let's adjust it there.
You know what? Since college and pros can't really compare, let's take two pro coaches right now, Sean McVay and Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury has a college background, correct me if I'm wrong, McConnell.
Yeah.
And what has he done? What has he done for Arizona?
He's brought in Kyler Murray.
Brought in Kyler Murray and changed the culture. Correct me if I'm wrong. Not only has he changed the culture, not only has he brought in Kyler Murray, but also he motivates the team, and also he's an excellent old guy, right? Sean McVay, how long was Sean McVay dialing up plays and still trying to make winning plays for Jared Goff and still motivate his team? How many times was he, willing to get up in the ref's face like, hey, what are you talking about? I'm just saying, coaching, just because you get paid more on a coaching level, it doesn't mean things change. Anything can happen. Anytime your player comes on the sideline and you ask, and as a coach, you ask them, what's going on out in the field? What are you seeing? As a player, I'm telling my coach what's going on, what I'm seeing out there on the field. Okay, you seeing this? This is what's happening. Let me dial this up for you, so you can succeed and get me a touchdown. How many times the year before? Was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. How many times was Hollywood upset, Lamar Jackson upset, and they both said, hey, they know our plays. They said that more than once in the interviews, and not once was anything adjusted. So hey, I'm just saying, for the stream, we may have to find a way so we can start getting guys to call in, or maybe dial in. So so I see Ken. I love when y'all in the chat talking. 50 people in the stream. Listen, keep on liking, sharing. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe and turn on your notifications.
Also, if you guys use TikTok, check out the TikTok at TGB Ravens, because we'll post clips and then also like individual content and things like that. So we do that over there. It's a lot of fun. We're also doing a Ravens superlatives. I said at the beginning of the stream. But basically, we're gonna have like a voting system for Ravens awards and like season awards. So like best moment, best player, most improved, best signing, worst player, least improved, most regressed, that type of thing. All the voting will be done there on TikTok, but then we'll make a video on it, going over the results on YouTube. So the voting and stuff like that will start tomorrow. So go check out the TikTok if you want to be a part of like the voting process and things like that, because it should be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see what you guys say, and how much you guys disagree or agree with me and what I would vote for. But like one of the things that I think about John Harbaugh is, okay, I understand this idea that the Ravens should just get rid of Roman. And I completely understand that. My concern with just getting rid of Roman is I don't think Harbaugh can bring in the type of coach we need to be the offensive coordinator that'll be new and dynamic. Because typically, when you get like a new up and coming offensive coordinator, they're coming over from a certain spot, right? Kyle Shanahan was in Washington. I'm trying to remember Kyle Shanahan's career path. So he was in Washington and he was really up and coming, right? And he didn't want RG3 at all. He was very anti RG3. He wanted Kirk Cousins. So their second pick, they actually drafted RG3, and then their next pick, they drafted Kirk Cousins in that draft because Kyle wanted him so bad. Then Kyle ended up leaving and took a job as the offensive coordinator for the Falcons, and like really started to take off there, and then went, boom, head coach, 49ers. Like he started and very quickly progressed. So with the players currently, or the coaches potentially that I think have a chance of becoming like great offensive minds, the biggest offensive mind right now is Kellen Moore. He's not going to take an offensive coordinator job. Harbaugh won't be able to bring that in. And so that's what I'm concerned with, because Dan Quinn was the coach of the Atlanta Falcons when Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator. Dan Quinn's a defensive guy. All right. He's the defensive coordinator currently for the Cowboys. So Kyle was brought in and they were like, you get to do the offense. So it was still like a promotion in the sense where he's now like fully in charge and able to take advantage of it. And we saw what they did. They had the best offense in 2016 and they had MVP quarterback Matt Ryan. And then all of a sudden the 49ers were like, yo, you want a head coaching job? He's like, yes, I do. Went to San Francisco, took them to a Super Bowl, back in the playoffs again this year. So like, that's the thing that I think about when I think about like, yeah, just having Harbaugh stay. Like, I don't think Harbaugh will be able to bring in the talent to just be an offensive coordinator, as if we just hired somebody to just create their own staff as a new head coach in the NFL, like a Kellen Moore or something like that. Because it can be done where a very good team gets rid of their coach, and then all of a sudden they're still contending. Mike McCarthy got fired by the Packers, and then they brought in Matt LaFleur, and he set the record for most wins by a Packers new head coach, like in the first 3 seasons or whatever. It's like, oh, whose record did he break? Oh, Vince Lombardi. Is he a good coach? Is he good at all? Is that what the Super Bowl's named after? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's all good.
Who's the troll in the stream? Blank space, you're trolling.
Blank space. Oh man.
Oh man. Listen, we can go on and on about Harbaugh, man. The thing is, Eric DeCosta has to make that change. It has to come down the pipeline. And it's not enough disgruntled players to speak on that.
And I think I would assume you agree with me on this, Joshua. We don't want it. It's like a Band-Aid. We don't want a slow rip. Rip off the Band-Aid right now. We don't want, let's just fire Roman and then see how Harbaugh does this year. And then, let's fire Wink Martindale. We'll see how Roman does next year, or how Harbaugh does next year. And then we'll fire Roman. It's like, No, we don't want to take 3 years to figure it out. The Ravens have been slacking the last 2 years, not firing anybody. And if they try and just start a multi-year process of evaluating Harbaugh, it's going to ruin Lamar Jackson's development and the Ravens' chances at winning under Lamar Jackson at quarterback. So, like, rip it all off, get it set now, and see what you can do with it.
Yeah, like I rather go ahead. We need a fresh start. We need a fresh start with coaching. I would literally take a struggling year because they're trying to get it right versus you know what? Oh, we keep on blaming it due to COVID injury stuff like that. Let me see if a new coaching staff can make changes to this organization where we can better elevate our game. I'm tired of hearing. I'm tired of seeing my quarterback defending these guys that he really wants to rip into. Like, I don't. Yeah, it bothers me because literally the keys are in his hand. Anytime you have a quarterback that doesn't want to get vaccinated and writes a 500-page paper of why he doesn't he doesn't want to get vaccinated and still plays the whole season. Now he got his team to the playoffs and is in conversation for MVP and possibly a Super Bowl. Bro, no, you haven't been in the league as long as him, but your name holds the same weight in Baltimore as this other guy name holds the same weight in Wisconsin. Use that. Use your leverage. Use your power. They can't cut you because they're not going to get Malik Cunningham at 14. And Malik Cunningham is not you.
Yeah. I like Malik Cunningham. I really like Malik. I would love the Ravens to get Malik Cunningham in a very late round after they trade Tyler Huntley. That would be amazing. But I wish. I wish we could have Kyle Shanahan. Oh my goodness. If we got Kyle Shanahan, it would be over. It would be over. And I'm so jealous that Trey Lance, who I really liked as a prospect coming out of college, he gets to have Kyle Shanahan. It's going to be so nasty. It's going to be so nasty when he finally gets to start.
Yeah.
If only we had a Kyle Shanahan. If only.
That song. Wow.
All right, guys. We've been streaming for almost an hour and 10 minutes. Is there anything you guys want us to answer quickly? You know, we kind of talked about the things we were expecting to talk about. A little bit of draft, a little bit of a lot of Harbaugh, a lot of Greg Roman. But is there anything you guys want to ask us real quickly? Blank space. Is there anything you guys want to ask us about anything before we kind of end the stream? But you guys have been great. This has been a very fun stream. You guys have been talking a lot, so thank you all. A lot of questions that we probably didn't get to all of them at the beginning. We'll probably have to look through and see if we'll make videos or something like that on other questions that people ask when we miss them. So it's a good question. Fayu says, if Eric DeCosta was to choose the next offensive coordinator, would you keep Harbaugh? I don't think Eric DeCosta is one that, like, it's not like Eric DeCosta came up as a coach. Like, Eric DeCosta came up through management. So I don't really know how much I trust him in the I think he came up scouting, I believe, is how it was. But
he was scout. He was EDC was a scout first.
So it's like I don't think that's it. I don't know how confident I would be, and I don't think Eric DeCosta would be able to bring in and say, "Hey, Kellen Moore, you want to run this?" Like I don't think he would be able to get that, because look at the weapons Dallas has right now. Kellen Moore gets to work with Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, Dalton Schultz, Dak Prescott, and a really solid offensive line. So, and also the greatest football player of all time, Simi Fehoko. So it's going to be tough to pull him away.
Yeah, now if Kellen Moore and T Martin work together, that would be interesting. I think I think that would be nice. But right now is wishful thinking. We just talking. Yeah.
I love this. Thank you, Nana. It was a great stream, controversial but a great stream. You guys can have your own opinions. I think a lot of times when like people make YouTube videos and do streams like this, people are like, nah, our opinion is right, everyone else is wrong. Like, nah, you guys have your own opinions. We like seeing people when they disagree and you guys have different opinions. So it makes it a lot more interesting. So then we can actually really discuss it a lot more. And there have definitely been times when we have changed our mind because of what you guys say in the chat. And we really think about it. So thank you everybody for coming into the stream.
Oh my God. Blank space. Hey man, y'all check out Maryland, man. Maryland getting back to it. My boy Julian Reese is working. Him and Angel Reese's his sister. She plays for Maryland women's basketball team, and she putting up numbers. But definitely let us know, man, how y'all feeling. Y'all can always talk to us during the week. Whoa, Falou. That's
Nah, Sauce is not falling to the second round.
Come on now. We're gonna get 2 University of Cincinnati corners. Believe that though.
Oh, I hope so.
That would be dope.
That would be so cool.
Like getting Sauce and then getting Kobe. Like Kobe can take Iman Marshall's spot. Like, dude literally taking up space for the past how many years?
4, I think.
Come on, bro. And honestly, if we talking about linebackers, I would want the linebacker out of Wyoming and the young man out of Penn State. I think I forgot his name. I think he's like number 23, 22. Got to double check. I feel like he could be like a third round pick. So, but yeah, y'all. Thank y'all for coming to the stream. As always.
Yeah, we'll see all of you guys again next time.